So, how many times have you been in this exact same situation? You spent a ton of time working on your next YouTube video, you're super pumped, super passionate, and really excited to get it out there to your audience. You spent hours filming and editing and making sure this video is absolutely perfect. Then you finally upload it to YouTube, schedule it for release, and you just can't wait for everyone to see it. You start getting really excited because you just know everybody's gonna absolutely love it, especially because you put so much time into it. Then, something like this happens. Well, today, I'm gonna make sure that does not happen. I'm gonna show you how to get more engagement on your YouTube videos with these 5 tips. You ready? Let's get right to it. Alright, so the first tip I have for you today is start your videos with a hook. Now, I know this might not be the easiest thing to do, especially depending on the type of video you're making, but it's still important to make sure your audience gets hooked in right off the bat. People tend to make a decision within the first 10 seconds if they're gonna continue watching your video or not. That's right, only 10 seconds. That's not a lot of time. So you have to make sure there's something within that first 10 seconds there that's gonna get your audience's attention. Now, this can be some flashy B-roll, something funny related to your main topic, or even one of the main takeaways from your whole topic that you're gonna be talking about. Just lead them off with something that's gonna be intriguing to make them wanna keep watching until the end. Just make sure you start off with something that will entertain people, that will wow them, that will be informative or intriguing enough without giving them too much information, because once again, you wanna make sure they don't just stop watching right there, you want them to watch all the way through to the end of the video. Now, I'll show you a quick little example right here. If I was gonna review the 2020 iPad Pro, I might start off with something like this. This is the all-new 2020 iPad Pro. It just might be the best laptop you could ever own. And that's right, it's not even a laptop. Here's why. Or, if I was in a comparison video between 2 different products, I might do something like this. This is what all the cool kids are calling the RE Minity. It's a DIY version of the insanely expensive RE Trinity. It has the likes of James Matthews, Jason Morris, and Momentum Productions absolutely raving about it. But is it really all that much better than using just a gimbal? Let's dive right in. So as you can see in the first example, I showed you some beautiful product shots of the product I'm reviewing. The imagery alone should get people excited at the idea of even owning this product, but then I also tried to hook you in by telling you this will be the best laptop you'll ever own, considering it is a tablet. So that is quite a bold statement to be making, that I'm suggesting that you could replace your laptop with a tablet. So this should be intriguing enough to at least get people to want to keep watching a little bit further to see what I have to say. If that didn't really intrigue you enough to want to check this video even further, I'm not really sure what will. So let's move on to example number 2, in which I did a similar thing. I yet again showed some awesome shots of the product, explained what it is, and how a bunch of popular YouTubers are singing its praises. But then I challenged it by posing a question. Is it really all that it's cracked up to be? This once again should get your attention right away, making you want to know why it might not be worth it to spend the time to try to build one of these things yourself. So always try to start off with some kind of hook that will make people want to stick around. And the longer they stick around, the more likely they are to engage with your video. Alright, so let's move on to point number 2, and that is make sure your branding is consistent and on point. Something that I've always found value in is having really good and strong branding. It's something I have been focusing on since my, early startup days when I had ran a tech company. I just always focused on having the strong, consistent, and good branding because people always recognized what the product was or what my whole branding was all about anytime they saw my branding. So branding is something that makes people recognize you or your content right away. So if your logo, your designs, your imagery is all over the place and not consistent, people are gonna have a hard time recognizing your content. But what you want them to do is be able to spot a piece of your content and go, oh, that's Alex's videos. Oh, that's his Instagram account. And there's a few different little things that could really help contribute to that so that people will recognize this and notice you right away. Now this could include a short channel intro that you use on all your videos. It could be a certain color scheme or even color grading that you use on your videos and even across your Instagram posts, and even certain design elements that you use across your videos, like titles, transitions, and even little callouts that you use in all of your videos. So if this is consistent, people will recognize this and know it's your content right away. If you do your best to use this across all of your videos and all of your social media content, you'll start developing your own style. So this tip is also about trying to hook people in, so it's very much tied to the first tip that I gave you. If you can hook people in, you're gonna get their attention. If you get their attention, they're more likely to engage with your content. So you hook them in with what we talked about in the previous step, and you also try to hook them in with your consistent branding that is visually appealing, then people are at least more inclined to even hit that like button. And that still counts as an engagement. Alright, and let's move on to tip number 3, and that is include call to action overlays early in your videos. So a call to action overlay is exactly what it sounds like. So a call to action is a textual or graphical element that is displayed on top of your video, which gives your audience information or just asking them to do something, hence the call to action. You're calling them to do an action. So I like to include a cool animation of my name displaying to let people know who I am. I include my social media handles so people can follow me. And then I even have one to prompt people to subscribe to my channel, because this is very important. People shouldn't just be watching your content, they should be engaging with it. That's the point of this whole video here. You want to get more engagement. So you want people to like it, you want people to comment, and more importantly, you want people to subscribe to your channel. So sometimes people need to be told or reminded to do these things. I think we're all guilty of just like skipping ahead, enjoying a piece of content and moving on from it. But I think it's important that we both do it for other content creators and they also do it when they're watching our content. So instead of just including these little graphical and textual elements, I used to include this whole bit in the beginning of my videos where I'd introduce myself. I would say something like, "Hi, my name is Alex Perri and I'm a content creator from Toronto, Canada." And I would even say something like, "Before getting into today's topic, it would be much appreciated if you could follow me on Instagram and Twitter at AlexSPerri. Also, while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below because there's lots more cool stuff coming your way and I want to make sure you stay tuned." It was something like that, and I was like, you know what, like, people don't necessarily want to hear this whole big bit before they get to your main content. So I decided to experiment a little bit, and I found that a lot of other content creators are not doing that whole thing at the beginning. Now I realize that when you're first starting out and you have a smaller audience, you might be more inclined to do that because you want people to be familiar with you. But like we talked about, having strong branding, the previous point, that's how you get people to recognize you and who you are. But constantly spending, 2 minutes at the beginning of each video talking about who you are and asking them to follow you and do things, that's not really gonna help out. So jump right to your topic and have these little textual or graphical elements that, stand out and pop up on the screen that are asking them to do this for you. You don't have to actually say it as well, at least not at the beginning of the video. You don't want to take up that valuable time where you should be getting their attention, asking them to do a bunch of things. You just want to get right into the topic because let's face it, people are either at your channel, at your video to be entertained or to learn something. So make sure you're doing just that right away. All right, so before we get to tip number 4, I'm gonna have you do something. I'm gonna ask you to pause this video right now and go down into the little comment box down below. And once you're there, I want you to let me know what you do to get more engagement on your content or on your videos. I'm only covering 5 tips here today, and I know there's probably a million more, so I want you to help each other out in the comments down below, giving each other tips on how to get more engagement. Then, once you've done all that, don't forget to unpause this video because you want to make sure you watch the last 2 tips. I don't think you came this far just to only see 3 tips, you came here for 5 tips, so don't forget to unpause this video. And that brings us to tip number 4, and that is pose a question somewhere in the middle of your video, like I just did right now. This is directly asking your audience to get involved and engage with your content. You're making them feel included. You're making them want to participate, which can spark not only conversation with you, but also with your other audience members so they can talk with each other. That is super important because community building is a huge part of running a successful YouTube channel. And what better way to do that than encouraging your audience to engage with each other on your videos? You can literally ask them to do absolutely anything. It could be any kind of question. But I find the 2 most important or 2 most successful questions are something related to your main topic or just using your sense of humor to ask them absolutely anything that could even be unrelated. Just ask them something to get them engaged. And finally, we're at tip number 5, and that is optimize your end screen instead of having a lengthy outro. Now, I am guilty of having a super long and lengthy outro. Now, just like I talked about previously, the beginning of the videos, I used to include a long bit about who I am, follow me, subscribe, all that, boring stuff. So I pretty much used to do the exact same thing at the end of the video. Now, not that that's a bad idea, I think a lot of experts say you should be asking people to do these things, and it's maybe important to do it at multiple points throughout a video, but having the same bit and, a quite lengthy one at the beginning and at the end before it even gets to your end screens, that's just gonna turn people off. And if they already got all the information they needed, or they were entertained by the main bit of your video, they might just stop watching there. You might start giving your whole little spiel, your whole little bit, and then people will say, well, I already got what I came here for, so I'm gonna leave now. Thank you very much, goodbye, right? You wanna make sure people are sticking around to the end. You want them to stay as long as possible, and you really want them to be engaged, right? And actually engage with your videos. You want them to click that like button. You want them to hit subscribe. You want them to drop a comment, right? These are all important things you want them to do. So you don't want them to leave before you're actually finished and your video's runtime is over, right? You want them to be sticking there right to the end. So after having this lengthy intro type thing at the beginning of the video, after having this long outro, I would then cut to my little channel, outro logo animation, and then I would show my end screens. So the end screens is basically something that YouTube lets you add at the end of your video. I believe it can be up to 20 seconds long. And that's where you can add little elements like a subscribe button and a couple of previous videos for them to click on right from that screen so they can watch more of your content. So this is something that's very, very important to have in your video, and it's important for people to get to that point. Because just by saying subscribe down below, watch my old videos, do this, do that, people aren't necessarily going to do it because they have to kind of go out of their way to do it. Especially if people are watching on mobile, I really don't think you even see the subscribe button or any other buttons if you're watching in full screen. When you're on, the desktop or your laptop or a tablet, you might see all the UI of YouTube and the interface and the buttons are there. But if you're in full screen on mobile, that stuff's not there. So you might just swipe out and hit back. But if you can get your audience to watch to that last bit, to that last end screen, all the elements on the screen, even when in full screen, they are buttons, they're clickable. So you can just directly click my little, my profile picture that shows, that says subscribe here. You can click on a little thumbnail of the next video and it'll play the next video. It's all right there. So there's nothing that's stopping you or getting in your way of watching more of my content or engaging with me. So now what I'm gonna start doing, and this is what a lot of people do, is you can have the smallest of little bits where you maybe thank the audience for watching, say, hope you found this useful, but then jump right to your end screen, but also include you still there talking. So you can kind of divide up the screen, split it up how you want, but on one part of the screen, you would have your buttons like the subscribe area, the 1 or 2 videos that they can click on to watch your previous videos. But then on the one half of the screen, you would have yourself still talking, and that's where you're saying, your whole ending message. That's where you'd say, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and you can even point to it. You can go, hit that subscribe button right there. It's not necessarily the one down below, it's my face that's popped up right there. You can just click that, and you can subscribe. And you can also say, and don't forget to check out my last video, and you can point at it as well, right? You can even look over, and envision where you see it. You point there, you say, click that button, watch my previous video, because I think you'll also find it useful as well. So you're encouraging them to check out your other content because you think, if you found this one useful, you might find that one useful as well. So you're directly asking people to do all of these things. And even, if you say follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you have your social links down below, so you can kind of design a template to be used for your end screen there. That is really optimizing it, and it really encourages people to keep watching right down to the end. So by optimizing your end screens like this, and basically your outro, it's really helping you trim the fat off your video that people just weren't chewing. Like on a beautiful piece of steak, there's that wonderful, amazing, juicy, flavorful marbling of fat that goes throughout, the kind that you want to eat, the kind that's enjoyable. Not the gross, thick, chewy, disgusting fat that's on the outside border or edge of your piece of steak. People just kind of, eat their way through that, enjoy all of it, and then once they get to that, they just cut it off and get rid of it and just, toss it out. That was a good analogy, wasn't it? Huh? Sorry, I've been on a huge barbecue kick lately. I've just been obsessing over making, the best barbecue I possibly can. But I know you don't care about that at all, whatsoever. So I'm not gonna bore you with all the details of my barbecue adventures I've been going on these past couple of months. I'll just kind of stop it right there. So there you have it. That was 5 tips on how you can get more engagement on your YouTube videos. What do you think? Is this something you think will help you out? Are you already utilizing these techniques, or did you find this useful? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to know. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button down below, and also hit my face right over there. Not punch me in the face, but click that button to subscribe to my channel right now. Also, while you're at it, there's a video right over there that I think you might like as well, so make sure you click on that and watch that one too. I'm Alex Perry, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.